Crossover Cups has been serving the Dominican for over 30 years. And again, as they said, their mission is to come alongside young people and families to disciple them, provide for them, give them education, serve them, and empower them. And many of the people this organization helps are in danger of human trafficking. And so, obviously, I love that they're there trying to help and make an impact in that area. So here's some things that I like about them. Number one, they serve year-round on the ground, and what I mean by that is this is a mission that exists 365 days a year. They don't just exist when a few white people come down there, all right, to hang out with them for the week. So they're doing work on the ground all the time. Also, too, they partner with 4 colleges down in the South. So they work with college students and young adults all the time. So when we go on this trip, they're used to having people like us who come down there and do this mission trip. We can have up to 25 people on this trip. So like half this room can go, all right? So it's a race, but half of you can go basically. All right, so 25 people can go. We get to share the gospel with people, which is always important to me when we can share the good news of Jesus with others. Also, too, the price we pay, which is pretty cool. I'll talk about cost and price in a little bit. Pays for everything. So basically, once you are on the ground, you don't have to spend a penny if you don't want to while you're there. And then again, too, they have lodging that is made for missionaries. So it's places to worship, meet. There's people there that cook for you. So sometimes you go on mission trips, food can be a little bit of an issue. But on this one, it will not be. So just be aware. You can go over to the next page now. I want to talk you through the itinerary that we'll be on for this trip. So the period that we will be there is June 20th through the 25th this summer. So however long that is, that's essentially about 8 months from now, 8.5 months. We would leave Grand Forks on June 19th. One of the things that, probably the only thing I don't like about the trip is that Grand Forks is really hard to get to the Dominican Republic from here. So we're gonna have to fly out of the cities. So we would drive down to Minneapolis on the 19th. We'd fly out the morning of the 20th. We would fly back the afternoon of the 25th, drive through, kind of get home in the morning sometime here of the 26th. So that is the itinerary. So again, if you're interested, you have the dates. Things we do on the ground, again, because they have missionaries or people that serve there year-round, 365 days out of the year, we are doing what they see fits the most. They have some general things they do most of the time, but they will also say, hey, look, this is the need that we have right now. So again, you won't just be a group that's painting the same house for the 4th time, okay? They actually know what the needs are on the ground, and they'll get you connected that way. It will include sharing the gospel. Almost every time we do like a 3-day VBS for kids, like a kids camp. There is a street ministry sometimes in the red light district there. Like we said, human trafficking is a part of it. There's home visits, praying with people. There's a movie fun night for the community, Bible study, forms of manual labor, feeding people at the garbage dump. You can look at the rest there, but again, they showed some of it on the video in terms of what we will doing. All right, so go to the next page. I know this is the biggest question everybody's got. All right, so I'm going to talk through some cost stuff with you. Okay, this is some cost stuff. These are the fixed costs, okay? The fixed cost, and I'm going to talk about some of the ways we pay for this in a little bit, okay? But the fixed cost is right around $1,750, $1,750. Okay, that may change slightly one way or the other. You can see the breakdown there. There's the cost of flight, okay, which doesn't include all baggage because we're going through a special group that does work with nonprofits on flight deals. In terms of the individual, it's $750 we pay to this place, but like I said, that pays for every single thing that we do on the ground. Okay, so you don't have to actually, again, spend money on the ground if you don't want to. Travel expenses, we will work that in terms of the travel to Minneapolis for a hotel, parking, and gas. And then in terms of other fees, okay, we will work in the price. Everybody has to have travel insurance. We'll talk through why that is in a little bit, okay? Also, too, if there's a change in airfare prices, we do have to bring down some suitcases with supplies, which we will try to get through things here at the church, and we should be able to cover that, but if we can't, we will place some of that with supplies. And then also, I try to bring some leaders with because we need some people to lead things that happen, and I do pay for some of their trip. Okay, so some of the leaders' costs are worked into the overall thing that we pay, okay? So that we have money for those people that have to actually be in charge of our VBS or whatever it may be on the ground, okay? So those are the fees that are kind of fixed. Again, they could change slightly one way or the other. Some other additional costs to be aware of. When we are there, there is a half day where we go snorkeling. You don't have to do that, that's optional. Also too, there's money for the ride to Minneapolis and back. So again, that'll be up to you how much you want to spend on that. Passport, since we are leaving the country, you do need a passport. Those are the costs of a passport at this time. If you're a first-time applicant, it's $145. If it's your renewal, it's $110. In terms of shots, I will create a list. They have a list of recommended shots. It's nothing crazy. You probably have most of them, okay? But if you do need shots or you want to get those shots, those do come out of your own pocket. Also too, so the Dominican Republic pretty much follows the U.S. The U.S.'s lead on how they look at COVID right now. So the current rules for the Dominican Republic is that you have to either present a vaccination card, okay, no less than 3 weeks after the last dose was placed, or you need to have a negative PCR test within 72 hours prior to arrival in the Dominican Republic. If you've done either of those things, you are exempt from a random test. Okay, so right now they're just randomly testing people. It's a breath test. I don't even know what that is. All right, but that is the current thing that they are doing. And so if you can present either of those things, a negative test or a vaccination card, you are not subject to the random test when you arrive. Okay. Also too, we may read a couple books for this, which again I'll talk about, and the names of those two books are there. Cost assistance for fixed costs. So some of you look at the $1,750 and you say like, oh man, that's way too much money. I don't want to spend that. I don't know if I can get that. Here's some things. Okay, first off, Hope Church, we have a missions fund. Okay, whenever you buy coffee out there, that goes to our missions fund. We have people that give money to our missions fund. Okay, and with that missions fund money, we try to help people go on these trips. Now this amount is subject to change, okay, but our goal is that everyone will get something, right? Roughly right now that number is $500, so you can knock $500 off of the $1,750, okay, because everybody will get that for going. Again, that could change, it's not set in stone, but that is the rough amount right now. We will do some team fundraisers as well. I'm sure you've seen those people before serving at Chick-fil-A or Pizza Ranch or other things. Those are a way for us as a team to raise money. Again, some of that money will help pay for your costs. Also too, and again, we're not gonna go deep into them tonight, but we do fundraising letters. Okay, that's where you reach out to family, to friends, and just say, hey, I'm going on this mission trip, would you please help support me? Okay, especially with the holidays coming up, if you really want to go, that is a great thing. Hey, rather than for Christmas this year, rather than getting me a gift, would you please help fund this or use that money you would normally use towards me on this, okay? The best way to think of your costs on this trip is that it's going to be a third, and a third, and what that means is that a third of the money you need will probably come from missions fund, a third will come from some of your fundraising, and then a third will be personal, okay? Now, I've seen enough of this over the years to know this. Through fundraising and the missions fund, some of you won't have to pay a dime, okay? You'll raise enough money to do it, all right? Some of you will end up having to pay some. I can't see it costing more than about $900 to you personally. I understand $900 is a lot of money, but I'm also thinking that like, if you're prayerful and you're diligent about fundraising, I really honestly believe it's not gonna cost that much to you personally. It'll probably be closer to zero than 900, okay? There's some payment due dates there for crossover cups. You just need to keep this sheet, we'll put it through there. That's when some payments will become due. Like the first time you'll have to pay any amount of money if you do want to go is January 1. Okay, so that gives you roughly 3 months, right, to make sure you've got $200, okay? So that's just something to think about with that. Again, there's no due date set on the airplane ticket. We'll probably try to do them earlier in the winter than later in the winter, okay? We have seats reserved for us, but as the seats start to fill up, pretty soon the airline might say, hey, you have to pay now if you actually want those seats, okay? So just to be aware of that, that's kind of the way it works. So just I'm saying January, February might have to pay. It might be later than that, but I'm just telling you that. One other thing in terms of cost is there is a time commitment. If you want to go starting in January, twice a month, probably on Sundays, probably around noon, we're going to meet to team build, to plan, to prepare. Okay, if for our group there's a better day, better time, we will definitely make that happen and switch it. So don't get caught up in the day and time yet. Just be aware though that there are a couple meetings a month. Again, we have to make sure that we're a strong team when we go down there, right? As someone who has been on mission trips, as someone who has lived overseas, I can tell you that you see some things that are hard. You see some things that you do not see here in the U.S. All right, and you have to at least kind of make sure you're mentally and spiritually prepared for those sorts of things, and that's where making sure you've got a strong team matters within that. Okay, comments and questions. I'm going to go through a few things here, and then I will leave some time for you guys. All right, these are my own frequently asked questions / comments. I made up these on my own, okay, because I know these things are going to come. All right, so if you know you want to go or you're even interested, there's a mission trip application on the Engage website, okay? You are not committed to going if you fill that out, okay? It helps us to know you are interested, okay? Because here's the deal, this group, in order for us to be there, we have to have at least 15 people, okay? And if we don't have that many people, like amongst you who have applied by November 1st, we're gonna open it up to everyone at Hope Church, okay? So I would like to keep it just a college young adult, but if we need to fill up that 15, we'll open it up to the church. Okay, so if you're interested, fill it out, right? Because after that, like once it gets to November 1, it's going to be first come, first serve. Okay, so if you don't wait around and wait, right? I know how college students work because the deadline to apply is November 14th. You'll wait till November 13th at 11:32 p.m. to fill it out. All right. And if that's what you do, you might be put to the back of the line. Okay, so if you have any interest, fill it out as soon as you can. All right, again, like I told you, we can only take 25 people, and once we reach that number, everyone else will be on a waiting list. Okay, so just so you know, once you apply, we have a missions team here at Hope, and they look over your application and they will approve it if you are approved for the trip or not. Okay, I can't see many things that are not going to allow you to be approved. All right, you should be able to go, but still there is a team that has to overlook each application. Again, an application does not mean you are committed. It just means you're interested and it gets you first in line. The deadline to apply is November 14th, and we will have our team in place by the end of November. So that's roughly 6-7 weeks from now, okay? And then your spot, right, you're on the team, but it's guaranteed once you make that first payment of $200 on January 1. Okay, so that's kind of how it works in terms of applying. All right, this one is mostly for the college students, right? Because I assume that if you are out of college, you don't have to run this by your parents anymore. Okay, but if you are in college and you want to go, please talk to your parents or guardians as soon as possible. You guys, I've worked in college ministry for a while now, and I can't tell you the number of times I have people that are going to go, and guess what's going to happen? All of a sudden, your parents are going to go, I don't want you to go on that trip. Right? And then it's gonna be like March or April, and you're gonna say, Eric, I can't go, and you're gonna make these payments, and then you're gonna be having to pay the money back, and it's gonna be a disaster. Okay? So make sure that if you want to go and you are in college, make sure you talk to your parents about what you want to do. All right? And listen, I'm more than willing to talk to your parents. You guys, this trip is absolutely safe. There's nothing we need to worry about from that end of things. All right, if it's a money issue, whatever it may be, I'm more than willing to help you and work with your parents, okay? And don't be ashamed of it, right? For some of you, right, if you're in college, your parents still have some influence over your money, okay? So please just make sure you're honest about that and make sure you talk to me or talk to them about it as soon as you can. Okay, once you have applied and are approved by the team, there's gonna be some immediate next steps. We don't need to go through that now. Just know I'll email that information to you, okay, with some things that you need to do once you've been approved, all right? That will just help you get going right away and get done the things you need to do. Now listen to this. This is about canceling out, okay? If you are a part of our team and you decide not to come, all right, you're personally responsible for any cancellation fees and or paying back money from the Hope Mission team or from the Hope Missions Fund or Team Fund. So Hope does have money to give you, but if you cancel out, okay, you would have to pay that money back, all right? So that's just something to be aware of. Now, one of the things with the airline that's cool, if you have a spot, the cancellation fee is only $150. Again, personally, you'll be in charge of that, but that is, just to know that is what the cancellation fee is. I told you earlier we're getting traveler's insurance. The reason we will do that is one of the reasons we will do it is because if suddenly you get sick a day or two before, okay, and you can't go on the trip, something happens, you won't be out the money, okay? Your traveler's insurance will cover the cost of that trip, okay? It also does things with luggage, things if you get sick or injured on the ground, but that's why we will be getting that, okay, to make sure that you're covered on that end of things, okay? And again, I don't see anything changing with COVID rules there, but we've been around in it enough now to know that things could happen, all right? And again, if something were to happen there where all of a sudden they said, hey, like to enter the Dominican, you've got to have a vaccination, because that is going on in some countries right now, all right? Just to be aware that is happening in some countries right now. If that were to happen and you don't want to go, okay, or get the vaccination, you would have to pay that money back. Again, I don't see that happening. There's nothing that I've seen or talking to the people who are on the ground there. It's nothing to worry about, but it is something to just be aware of, okay? Again, at number 5, if you are planning on coming and do not have a passport, get one as soon as possible, okay? Because I have to turn in your official passport name to the airlines, okay? If you give me your name and I give it to the airline and your passport says something different, right, you won't get on the plane when you go to those countries, all right? They don't mess around. Sam, you guys mess around with names on passports? No, there's no messing around with that stuff, okay? So, like, that is like the most important thing in the world is that you have the right name on your passport, all right, that everything lines up, okay? So, just be aware of that. If you need a passport, get on it as soon as you can. And so with that, does anybody have any questions? Yeah, Joseph.
Yeah, you are talking about the passport, but you are not talking about the visa.
Yeah, we don't need a visa. We just need a passport. That's a good question, though. Thank you. Any other questions? So either you're not interested or I was just that thorough. But. All right, thank you, Matt. I got a fan in the back, yes. All right, any other questions or thoughts? Okay, let me just say 2 things to you guys, and then I will finish up from there with it. First one is this. When I met my wife, we were married, and after about a year or 2, actually it was a year of being married, we went on a mission trip to Jamaica. It was a week-long one like this, and I can tell you, like, it was so huge in the development of my faith. If you've never had the opportunity to leave this country and just to go serve God somewhere else, like it is, you can do it in this country too. Please don't get me wrong. You can do mission trips here and have it be faith-changing. But I just know how faith-changing it is for people because you are going to see and experience things that you don't have to see and experience here. And it will do a lot of things. It'll change you. It might wreck you a little bit, right? But I think it'll do amazing things for your faith to see those things. And then, again, I lived overseas for 2 years in a developing country as well. Again, I would not be up here today in this position without those experiences because it's amazing in terms of how it builds our faith. So please, if it's something you're interested in or thinking about, definitely keep doing it. And that moves to my second point. Please be praying about it. Like if you have an interest, if you feel a stirring, be praying about it, right? I know the money, I know there's other things that we can say like, oh, how's this gonna work? I don't know what's gonna happen. We're gonna make it to work out. Man, God can come through in big ways, but that's why I'm telling you to start praying about it now and start thinking about it and just really doing it. So again, if you are interested, please fill out an application as soon as possible. It doesn't mean you're committed, all right? It just gets you in line so we can start the process with you. So with that, I wanna wrap it up. I'm gonna pray and we'll go about our evening from there. So, hey God, we thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, God, for giving us this mission trip and the possibility to go and serve you, Lord. There's a lot of places that we can go and serve, but it just feels like you've given us this opportunity and we're thankful for it. And I know right now, there's a lot of people thinking through it. There's a stirring in their heart. There's things going through their mind. They're not sure. They're thinking about it. God, just help them through the fears, through the worries, through whatever it is they're thinking, God. Keep working on their hearts.
God, and I pray that you will open doors for some people in ways that they've never seen before, God. And we just pray your hand upon this trip. We want this trip to be about you, about serving you, God, about sharing your gospel, and about just growing in our love and our worship of you, Jesus. And so we pray your hands upon what you're going to do with this trip. We commit it to you right now and just pray your anointing upon it, Father. Amen. All right, again, I will be around afterwards. Obviously, I'm here before church starts. I know it starts in a few minutes. And afterwards, if you have any questions personally, come find me, and I would love to talk to you about it. All right, God bless.